handiness. That means whether a child or a person is left-handed or right-handed. As we have two hands, both hands are equally good, but each one of us has only one hand which is better and which is the right hand for us to use. Whether it's the left or the right hand is genetic. That means when we're born with being either left-handed or right-handed, and this is a predisposition which cannot be changed through training, through education, through getting used to. Many people are being trained to use their right hands even though they are not right-handed, and this has very bad results concerning their self-awareness, their body control, their ability to learn and to study, their ability to do orthography, their self-awareness, self-consciousness, and their psychological stability. Bad results of being trained to use a hand which is not the natural one for this particular person to use could go as far as developing dyslexia, wetting the bed at night, and being psychologically unstable, inability to learn and to study. It's especially concerning learning becomes hard, reading and writing problems in general, retaining information in general, and being a happy, stable person. So these are very, very serious results. And as I've said, it's genetic, but it's not being visible from birth. Like many other things in our development of from a newborn baby to a grown-up person, does not become or is not visible from the beginning. For example, I was born with blonde hair and now I'm having a brown one. My real color of hair was not visible from the beginning. Our body size. We are all born between 45 and 60 centimeters of length. No matter where we're born in the world and how tall we will be grown up cannot be seen from the beginning. And the same is true for whether we are left or right-handed. Handiness develops even though it is genetic. The earliest you may see whether a child is left or right-handed is by 2 years of age, but that's really early. Generally 2.5 years. For many children you can already know, if you're really a keen observer, whether the child prefers the left or the right hand by nature. And then if it's not that age, it's not a problem, but until 5 years old, the child should have developed the handiness. So we can retain between 2.5 and 5 years of age, children show or develop which hand is their preferred and their better hand. Being used or trained to use the wrong one can have bad results. We have already mentioned that in the beginning. So what I want to tell you today, as educators, as teachers, and as parents, very often we train children to use the right hand without being aware of it. Many people in this world today are being trained using their right hand when originally they were born left-handed, but they never got to know it because they didn't get the chance to develop it. And this is a very serious matter, because it tells us something about talents and inborn abilities. Many of us have a lot of inborn abilities, but we were not allowed to develop them. In fact, we were trained to ignore them, to overrule them, and that means never in our life again we will develop them. Or we still have them within ourselves, but we're not aware of it. And this is actually true of many, many children concerning many, many talents, many, many gifts and abilities. Now, when it comes to handiness, as culturally, most cultures in this world tend to believe that the right hand is the good hand, the beautiful hand, or the right hand is the right hand. There's something about language also that should tell us something. We train our children using the right hand without being aware that we are training them. Now, if you have a strong-willed child with a strong personality, the child might again and again try to take things with the other one, and then you might start to doubt. But you have a child which is easygoing, easy cheesy, accepting what you train the child to. The child is easily accepting being trained for the right hand, even though it's not the right one for him. How do we train children to use their right hand? We train them to greet with the right hand. That's good. I am left-handed. You might have guessed it already. I'm greeting with my right hand because that's polite. That's what is expected, and it wouldn't work if I would do it with the other one. Then I'm also handing money, most of the time using my right hand, because I have some experiences in some other countries of this world where people are quite superstitious when using the other hand, the left one. So I trained myself counting the money with my left hand, but putting it into the right and handing it with the right, because that's expected, that is considered polite, that is considered correct. But writing, drawing, crocheting, I'm all doing it with my left hand. Stitching, sewing, everything. If I'm using a screwdriver or a hammer, I'm using my left hand, always. And that's a good one to do. And I was so lucky to have a primary school teacher who discovered that I wasn't sure which hand to use. And she wrote a long letter to my parents telling them there was nothing bad about me using my left hand for writing and anything else I wanted to do. So they should just allow me to do that. And I'm so lucky I had this teacher, because in my generation, children were still trained to use the right hand using force or using politeness or using polite pressure or friendly pressure, but children were still used to taking their right hand for everything. I was lucky to have such a progressive teacher, even though she was old, my primary teacher. And this is how I ended up using my left hand for everything. I said, as we hand things over, we do it like this. And this is how children are being trained. Or the way we put the cutlery, or where we put the tools like pencils, scissors, where we place them for the children, how we hand things and how we place things. This is what is training the children to use either or at the other hand. This shouldn't be, because there's quite a number of children who takes longer to develop their handiness, especially boys. Has nothing to do with whether their fine motor skills will develop well or whether their intelligence will develop well. Orientation in space, up, down, left, right, depends largely upon whether I'm using the hand which is right for me. So you can have a perfect surgeon using his left hand for surgery or using his right hand if it's the right hand for him. So what to do, how to do it right? Hand things as much as possible with your two hands in the middle of your body to the middle of the body of the child. So hand it directly like this. The child can choose to grab with his left or right hand. If the child hasn't developed handiness, one time he will do it left, one right, and with time the child will develop automatically, or find out automatically, it's intuition that using the hand, which is better for him. Cutlery, pencils, crayons, place them in the center so the child can use either left or right hand to grab them. If you prepare Montessori trays for practical life exercises, place the spoons or tongues or tweezers, place them in the middle so that there is no preference to either the left or the right side. Now, some of you might say, but we are using left to right as a rule for the children to do their practical life exercises. That's right. That is what we do. And we do that because this is the direction in which we are reading and writing English, German, French, and many, many other languages. If you were working in a country where people would be reading and writing from right to left, you would prepare the practical life exercises also from right to left. That is, if you were working in an Arabic country where children will learn to read and write Arabic, that's one written language I know is from left to right. You will do the practical life exercises also from from right to left. That's the way Arabic is being written, not from left to right as English, German, French, Spanish, etc. are being written. So the direction in which the children are working start working is the direction of the writing. In English and German from left to right, Arabic and many others from right to left. But if you have paid attention, the children will do, let's stay with English, from left to right, but then they have to do it back from the right to the left. And that corresponds to what we do in life. We work with both hands into both directions when it comes to working. But we get the children used to always check from their left side so that when they start writing and reading, they will be already used to this direction. So that's the reason. But whether they use their left or right hand, no problem. Both of them are equally important. Both of them are equally fine. But one hand is finer for each person, and which one it is depends on what are in the genetic program of that person. And we can't look into that. So we have to be observant to find out. And we have to be allowing the child to develop according to his or her genetic predisposition. So please do that.